Very similar to what's in AirPods, and with enough heat it should just peel right off, so let's try that. Check that out, it's just coming right off, and there's actually not a lot of it here. Very satisfying. It's way easier than I thought it would be. So far everything is going to plan. Let's clean this up and let me show you guys the fun part. This is gallium. It's a liquid metal that breaks down aluminum. Oh my god. These metal plates on the back of iPhones are usually really hard to remove, but with the iPhone 16 Pro, we discovered that you can just break them down using gallium and just pop out the camera bumps really easily. In order to use this stuff, I have to heat it up in some water. Gallium has a low melting point, so this should do the trick. While it's heating, I'm gonna scratch up the back plate to make sure there's no protective coating covering the metal. We're also gonna place some protectors on the inside of the camera lens to prevent scratches. Gallium is really messy, so I'm gonna use it in this plastic tray to contain the mess. We'll take the gallium and drop it onto the back plate, making sure to spread it evenly. This stuff looks really cool. We need to let that sit for a while, and if this plate is made of aluminum like last year, the removal process should be pretty easy. It's been about 30 minutes. The gallium should have weakened the aluminum pretty well by now, and let's see if it did. We're gonna take a razor blade and see if the aluminum peels off. So far it doesn't seem like it. Huh. So unfortunately, this is not aluminum, which means the gallium did nothing. If you guys haven't seen the iPhone 16 Pro transparent video, you should really check that out. Using the gallium was a lot of fun, but unfortunately, it won't work this time. But we're not giving up. We could still get this off. We're just gonna have to do it the hard way. And now we're just gonna try and get under this plate, whatever it is, probably stainless steel. After getting the metal lifted up a bit, we're just gonna be using heat. Most of the work when making a phone transparent is just heat, prying, and being careful. The camera bump is typically the most difficult to remove, but I managed to pop out most of the welds and remove all of the backplate. And there we go. We have the single camera removed, but we still have to do some touch-ups. That took a bit of time, but it went pretty smooth. Basically, all we have to do is remove the leftover metal from the camera lens, but we still want that clean cut, so we're gonna have to be a bit precise. And we have it removed. The camera is still protected, so we didn't really scratch it up. The sticker held in strong for some reason. Glad that it did. There is still a metal plate here that we have to remove, and we'll do that using the same way we've been doing pretty much everything. Heat. Now that we got this guy off, there's literally some like smoke, we just burnt it off. It's time to scratch off all the paint, and I've never had to scratch around curved glass before, so we might have to use a new method for that. Let's see if we do. Back on the heat pad, we're gonna use this paint scraper to remove all the paint on the flat areas of the glass. For some reason, it's a bit easier to scrape off this year than previous generations. What's cool about newer iPhone models is that the Apple logo is actually etched into the glass, so you don't have to worry about scratching it off. It's still looking pretty bad right now, but it's about to look a whole lot better. Onto the camera bump though. I'm taking the back glass over to the soldering station because we're gonna try melting off some paint. This is definitely not something you want to breathe in, so that's why we have these two fume extractors. Removing the paint in the plateau is hard to do with the blade because of the angles and the amount of pressure I'd need to put on the glass. I really don't want to break this now that we're almost finished. The soldering iron doesn't work as well as I'd hope, so I'm just gonna use it to melt off these hard to reach corners because the paint scraper can't reach here. With the corners mostly done, I'm gonna use the blade again on the flat part of the plateau, but this time I'm adding some heat. We'll take this back to really clean up the last bits of paint left. I'm using some isopropyl alcohol to make sure this one is extremely clean. And check it out, we have John Cena on the table because you can't see him. The back glass is pretty clear, it's nice and clean, and now it's time to reinstall all the components. Hopefully it all works out because that's probably the most challenging part of this whole mod. The first thing we're going to do is put the camera bump back on, which is pretty straightforward. All we need to do is really glue inside the glass and then slap it on, and it should stick pretty well. While the glue is setting, I need to figure out how to make this wireless charger look better. Also, if you're watching this in one of our many dubbed languages, welcome. Okay, that just came off. Instead of trying to peel off the graphite paper from the wireless charger, I actually just ended up folding it back. This is a lot less risky and nobody is looking at that side anyway because the wireless charging coil is gonna be like this. We'll also glue in the flash just like we did with the camera lens. Things are starting to look really good. Next up, I'm gonna need to place those massive MagSafe magnets. We'll be using a second MagSafe puck on the opposite side to ensure that the magnet array keeps its shape while I